Good evening from the Israel Center, the OU, here in Jerusalem. I have the great honor and privilege on behalf of the Rutan branch to introduce David Herman. Fondest regards from Lowell Gallen, the founder of the Rutan branch, who unfortunately could not be here this evening. Lowell and I normally do the interview, so Lowell sends his fondest regards, and he knows that it's going to be a lovely evening tonight. So David, really it's a great honor and a privilege to have you here tonight, and we thank you.
Right.
And we look forward to your talk later on.
Thank you. Thank you for all your interest and help.
It's a great pleasure. Now David, something interesting. I heard that you actually graduated from Cambridge University.
Yeah, I was the first full Jewish student in my college.
Really?
In Selwyn College, all those years ago.
So something interesting about Cambridge. Did you know that the only non-British Chancellor of Cambridge University was a man called Jan Smuts from South Africa?
Sure, I know the name, sure.
He was the Field Marshal.
Yeah.
He was very, very pro-Jewish. He had a very close connection with Chaim Weizmann.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very instrumental in forging the links with Lord George and with Churchill and with the Balfour Declaration. He was instrumental, and he was a signatory to the League of Nations and the United Nations. And in 1948, when Israel declared independence, he was one of the very first world leaders to recognize the State of Israel. So you come from a being in Cambridge. What did you study when you were in Cambridge?
I studied modern languages, French and Spanish. Specialized in those.
And you're fluent in Spanish and French?
I'm more fluent in French than in Spanish, but I translate from both languages. I have translated from both languages.
And you were born in England?
I was born in England in a little place in London called Willesden.
It's still...
Yeah, they put up a plaque there to show that I was actually there.
But today it's still, the suburb is still there? It's
oh,
still
yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Was it a Jewish area when you
There
grew
were
up?
lots of Jewish people there, but it wasn't particularly especially Jewish area. No.
Which part of London is it?
Northwest.
Northwest.
As far as I can remember. It goes back a long way.
And you, as a young kid growing up at school, you were always interested in languages?
Well, the thing is this, my parents had the feeling for some reason that I was going to be a diplomat. You know, in the old days, diplomats were big things.
That's not, okay.
Right, even today.
Even today?
So
to represent one's country, you're representing Israel on different spheres with your music and your literary works, but...
But what happened was this, they found, or they thought, that I would be suitable for a French school, a very famous French school in London, in South Kensington, called Lycée Français de Londres, which today is the Lycée Charles de Gaulle.
And it's still in existence?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's thriving. And I was there back in the late 1950s, before I went up to Cambridge. And I owe them a lot because they gave me my love for French and Spanish as well.
Oh, very nice. And okay, so you graduated from Cambridge, and then what did you do after you got your degree?
Well, I worked with a company in language teaching, a big link called Linguaphone, a very famous language teaching company. And I worked with them for a couple of years after I graduated. And then I got married. It happens.
To the best of us.
And shortly after that, I made Aliyah.
That was in 66.
In Cambridge, I was the chairman of the Israel Society. And that, of course, helped me towards Israel.
And did you grow up in a Zionistic family?
Yeah, very much. My parents always wanted to settle here. In fact, they did in the end, yes. And I come from I go back on my mother's side to the Rema, one of the most famous rabbis of the 16th century.
You can trace your lineage.
Yes. and Mendelssohn also was one of his on his lineage, and and my mother's great grandfather was the chief rabbi of Krakow and Warsaw, Rabbi Dov Berish Meisels. So I think I may have inherited some of his talents. He was even offered the post of chief rabbi of England at one time.
But he declined.
Well, he was too busy with his work in Poland at the time.
Wow, sure. What a special lineage you have. Wow.
Yeah.
From the Ramah and Maisels.
Yes.
And growing up, you had this love for Zionism,
my
for
parents,
Israel, for Judaism.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And you came from a religious family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going to Cambridge, you were proud. People knew you were Jewish.
Oh,
or it wasn't an
absolutely,
issue?
absolutely. A lot of people were very interested in my Jewish, and particularly I was the only full Jew in my college at one time.
In those days, did people
It
wear?
was Church of England College, but I wasn't Church of England. I wasn't much influence, but it was good to have the interplay.
Did people wear kippot at university? Or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. In those days, there was not strong anti-Semitism like today. So it's more difficult today.
Okay. And you made Aliyah in '66.
Yeah.
Before the 6-Day War.
Before the 6-Day War, with my wife, and we settled in Kiryat Yovel.
Here in Jerusalem.
Yeah, one of the first people in Stern Street, today what is Rehov Stern. And then I started to work with the Hebrew University, and then I did my MA at the Hebrew University. And I've been translator, singer, and writer all the time. I was a publisher for 20 years here.
Okay, now this is an interesting South African connection. Your partner was Rafi Dobrin.
Rafi Dobrin.
Dobrin, a very close.
Yeah, for 20 years we had a wonderful partnership, and I wish him good health because he hasn't always been in good health. But he's a remarkable person as well.
You can see you both have a very nice partnership. And one of your first books that you published was called Bestseller.
Yes.
And this was about the
this is the only English language book.
Jerusalem International Book Fair.
That's right.
And you wrote this book in 6 weeks?
Yeah. The story says that we wrote it within a very, very quick time. Me and the one who was helping me with the writing.
I really like the name of your publishing. It was called the Good Times Publishing Company.
That's right.
From Jerusalem, Israel.
And that was because at that time we were publishing newspapers. I started that in Israel for English teaching newspapers for the school system.
It's a wonderful idea.
And we reached something like 25,000 kids every week.
And there you'd give
different levels,
but different topics on sport.
Like everything. Yeah, with a glossary of all the difficult new words.
So I think the Jerusalem Post has
a
similar.
They were our rivals, and they were rivals. We were rivals for many years, basically.
But friendly rivals.
Oh yeah.
Okay, then you've written another bestseller called The Golden Eggs of Sacramentes.
Yeah, with all due modesty, it is a masterpiece. When I read it and reread it, I can't stop rereading it because it's so good.
So to all our viewers out there, highly recommended. David, how can our viewers obtain a copy of your book, The Golden Eggs of Sacramentes?
By contacting me. I have a few copies here tonight, as you can see. And if I run out, I'll have to reprint. That's all.
Okay, so what we'll do on the video at the bottom, we'll put your contact details.
Absolutely.
People
and my email, my contact.
Perfect, wonderful.
Yeah.
Then you also, you were very prolific in the work that you did, but you had an idea of the Sabra Man.
That's right.
And there's a video clip which you can watch on YouTube, a wonderful video clip. This is a copy of the book by, he was a very famous Israeli.
He was the first real Israeli superhero. Like today you have Wonder Woman or you have Captain Marvel. you see, with the Magen David on his chest, the
Yeah,
blue
the
and
copy.
white uniform, and I have a wonderful song about him, as you know. You've probably heard about this
This
song.
was the adventures of Israel's mighty superhero, Sabraman.
With the faith of Abraham.
And you had you met with Uri Fink, and he actually
I discovered Uri Fink back in the 1970s, early 1970s,
There's a copy.
and he began to draw, and today he's the #1 cartoonist in Israel. Uri Fink, very famous man.
And I also like the name of your publishing. You had the Good Times Publishing Company.
That's right, that was my
Which is
company.
on the reverse side of the book.
Yeah,
And David, and our viewers out there will be watching. You are very prolific in your music. You've made many videos
Well,
and many songs,
as-
and very
as-
really
as-
good
as
musical songs.
As you may know, Les, I have over 200 songs on the YouTube. Nobody will believe it, but it's true.
So to our viewers out there, you can go onto Les Glassman on YouTube and David Herman, and you'll
No,
see
not David
these.
Herman, David Ben Ruben. That's my musical name.
Okay, but I think it's also.
Yeah,
I think
no, I think-
if you
no.
Google, you'll find it as well.
Yeah, but I think
But it's better. You'd say better.
all my
David.
music is David Ben Ruben.
So I really would recommend.
That's in my father's name. L'Zichro Shel Abba.
And it's fascinating, it's wonderful, the music is inspiring, different topics, Jewish history, and
I wish I could get it more on the radio. It's very difficult because
David, can you expand a little bit more about some of I'd say your most popular songs that you've written? And I know you've actually, some of the music you've actually had connections with the Prime Minister.
yeah, I performed a song I wrote about his brother Yoni, who died in the Entebbe operation, and he invited me to his office, and I sang it to him, and he shook my hand warmly. He was very moved by it.
The song is very, very, very moving indeed.
Yeah, thank you.
And you've had about the rescuers. That's also
I have
wonderful.
a whole series of songs about the rescuers of the Holocaust, mainly Raoul Wallenberg, Karl Lutz, and Rabbi Weissmandl, and Sugihara.
Sugihara, sure.
Yeah.
And those can also be found. That song in particular can be found on. It's again on my YouTube
Yeah.
under Sugihara and Soliganor. You'll see the song that I've placed over there as well, and it's had many hits as well. And people do appreciate, because the words and the music is really very professional, and it's very, very nice what you did.
Thank you very
And
much.
it's a wonderful testament to the people that risk their lives in helping the less fortunate Jews in Europe.
Yes, Wallenberg was always a hero of mine, and in fact I founded a Wallenberg Rescue Society in Jerusalem. And we tried our best to find out, because till the 1980s people were seeing him in the Gulag, in the psychiatric hospitals, etc.
Yeah, it's still a mystery. It's a big mystery what happened.
Yeah, and I appealed to Putin a few times already to tell the truth, what really happened.
And David, what have you got lined up for the next coming months and year ahead?
Well, I've got one very big hit song that I'm working on. I'm also hope to produce a remarkable new novel. I can't say too much about it, but it
so
will
stay
have,
tuned
it
to
will
this
have-
channel, and
it will have a tremendous effect. It's to do with the English language. It has
Which
much
is-
to do with the English language.
which is really needed. It's needed not only in Israel, but it's needed worldwide.
Absolutely. That's why I have a song which I'll perform tonight called English is Easy for the kids. You know, I performed it for the
And
kids. You know the one.
You performed it in different schools as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, sure.
And it's been very well received.
Very well.
Exceptionally well received.
Yeah.
So David, on behalf of the Rutan branch, on behalf of the Israel Center, we want to wish you all the very best for what you've done. We want to thank you for the tremendous music that you've written and you've performed, and we always look forward to hearing you perform, and the books that you've written, and your inspirational, not only your what you've written, but also the music that you have performed and you've composed. and we wish you all the very best for the future, and we thank you for giving your valuable time this evening.
I want to thank you and Lowell and Larry, of course, who've been so very encouraging to me and have enabled me to develop many sides of my creativity.
Well, it's been a great pleasure, and thank you very, very much.
Thank you.